So we've gone through a number of different evidences then that were previously thought to be evidence in favor of evolution, but really when you look at it and you take away the myth, that it's really evidence in favor of design.
Mm-hmm.
So what about our educational system? What about, are we at a stage where we can start talking about bringing this into schools, and what should we bring into schools?
First, I would just like to see the public school system, both secondary and at the college, university level, just simply become less hostile to the data that suggests, or the data that even illustrates not only design but even creation. Just simply become less hostile to the idea that evolution is not the answer, despite the lack of explanation. It's even in some areas so hostile that a student cannot bring in an article. It might even be out of the Journal of Evolution, but they can't bring in an article that may contradict something that's in the lesson plan or something in the textbook. That's not education. That's indoctrination.
Right.
And when we do that, we're doing the student a terrible disservice.
And so part of what we're doing here by interviewing you and other scientists is to try to help educate the public, but also influence people so that and educators and parents and so on, that they begin to see the value of what we're talking about here.
Yes.
Is that this needs to be directed to kids. It needs to somehow get into the public square.
Yes. Evolutionists have done a very good propaganda job.
Campaign.
Yes. To where they've even been able to create almost a visceral gut reaction where anything that seems to hint at creation is you just automatically, I won't even want to hear it type thing. And when you have that mindset, when you have that kind of mental conditioning, then there really is no proper conversation. You're really not at the table discussing things. It's already one-sided. We're the only side that can talk. You have to remain mute. And in any science setting, that's ridiculous. And we, in fact, think not only should we be able to speak, but we think we have a lot of things we can speak about. And evolutionists don't want you to hear them because, in all honesty, they're scared of them. It's not a matter of, well, it's just junk science and we don't want you to hear about it. We really can't answer a lot of these questions, and our answers are really very superficial. And so we don't want there to be a discussion, because when there's a discussion, evolution doesn't do very good.
Does this issue matter? That, it matters to kids. It matters because kids are, they're growing up. They've been going to church. After they've left the nest, they're going elsewhere. They're not going back to church, and we're seeing it.
Yes.
The statistics are very, very clear that there is a migration away from the church and toward secularism. It's just is very, very clear.
And when we look at the cause of that migration, it is because the kids were not taught how to answer fundamental questions that they're going to get challenged with by their other friends, by what they see on TV, by what they hear in the college classroom. See, university system has really been my life by and large, as far as going through receiving education, going through being a professor and such.
Right.
And so I'm very familiar with the university system, and I call it Satan's meat grinder.
Okay.
Because Satan is saying, come on, bring the little kiddies to me. You have not sufficiently rooted in the Word. And I'll chew them up because they're not ready. And so unfortunately, when you have Christians that say, this isn't important, or this is too controversial, we don't want to get into this, what you're doing is you're abandoning the children. So when they come into Satan's meat grinder, they're not ready with answers. They don't know how to deal with all of this, of how this proves God didn't do it, this proves there is no God, this proves there is no creation, this proves the Bible's wrong. They're unprepared. You wouldn't send your child off somewhere for an over week stay without preparing them. But yet go off to college. It's okay. You're not prepared. It's all right. Don't be surprised if when your child comes back, they're not the same person.
Very, very sad possibilities. Yeah.
Yes.
It's a struggle for parents
Yes.
around the
Yes.
world. Absolutely.
Yes.
So we need to provide tools and resources. That's what we're about. That's what Evidence Press is about. We're producing these short videos that anybody can use. So 2.5 minutes, 3.5 minutes, and they can put it on their iPhone or iPad, and so kids can be sharing it with other kids and so on. So that's part of the Evidence Press ministry and part of what we're doing. We need to let people have an option,
Yes.
that there is design is an option, and that not design is the other option.
And Christians need to stop being so gullible. They need to stop being so gullible. You have Mr. Atheist stand up there and denounce Christ and denounce this and denounce that about the Bible, and they're saying, oh, I'm not going to listen to that guy. And then all of a sudden, he denounces Genesis or denounces creation, and then they listen. Where did that come from? Why does he have some credibility? Why does he have something of value to say on the idea of creation when you reject what he says about everything else? How does that happen? And yet we see that time and time again, that Discovery Channel or National Geographic will be going on and on and on about, evolution, and they just suck it up. But then if they run a special about the unhistoricalness of Christ, I'll reject that.
But they have good pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure talking with you,
Yes.
Kevin. Just so
Thank
much
you.
appreciate this time. So much appreciate just being here in Chino Valley, Arizona. Lovely, lovely weather and facilities. So it's just been such a joy. Thank you for just kind of going through this together, and hopefully the audience will appreciate it as well. But
It's been my pleasure.
it has really been good. It's just. When I saw your program that you have, I saw those points, and it's just like, this just shouts as being true, and that people need to be aware of this information. So, absolutely, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.